Hey ladies, so I'm working on, this is Jeannie from A1 Vacuum and Sewing in Reno, and I am continuing with weeks 3 sew along. And we just finished up the live feed, but I figured I would go ahead and just do my homework right now because you never know what's going to happen during the week. And the homework for this week that I was assigning was that you needed to do E, R, and R. So you're going to do E-R-R-Y, which completes the word Mary. We just did M. So now you should be able to do these, and they should be fairly easy. The process and technique is going to be exactly the same. You're also going to have to do Snowflake 2 and 3. You've already done Snowflake 1, which was this one. So it should be fairly easy for you to do the other two, so 2 and 3. And then present 2, because we already did present 1. So present 2 should be a piece of cake for you too. There's 2 more of those. And if you wanted to, you could do all of them. But there's going to be present 2 and a 3. It's same exact process. And last but not least, you're going to do chair 2. So we did chair 1 right here. Chair 2 is this one. It's going to be the same process. It's going to be even quicker and easier because it's a smaller... there's less stitching on it. That is going to be the homework. So that is what I'm going to do right now. I am going to stitch all of that out. And yeah, let's get started. This is what we did. We just finished up these 2 from week 3. And, you know, I'm going to modify the spreadsheet to reflect like what we're doing right now and then what you're going to need to do. But next week, we're going to combine sections 3, 4, and 5. You're going to have half of it done, and then we're only going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 new blocks that we're going to be stitching out in our sew along with the filler blocks. Don't be too overwhelmed. It's not going to take that long. These are going to be fairly easy. So let's go ahead and hoop up. I am going to hoop up for the E. We're just going to be doing this in our 5x7. Because I know some of you need to stitch like 2 or 3 of these. You're giving them away to kids and grandkids and different families. So, and I think some of you are having so much fun too that you want to do more. And then, of course, if you want to pace yourself and go slower, you always can. You can watch the videos and just do it at your own speed. All right, we are going to do the E right now. Sorry, didn't mean. Hope that didn't scare you. Whoop. Okay, so I put my 5x7 hoop. My machine is telling me to put a different embroidery frame on because my design is bigger than that. So if that ever happens to you, just slide this back. Then it will let you do that. And I'm just going to go home to clear my screen. We're going to go embroidery. I'm doing the E right now. The E is wrong week. E is going to be winter 2, 4x4. E, winter 2. And we want the 4x4 right here. Set. We're going to combine that. And this is my outline for my 8x12. Let me clear that too. I want my 5x7. 5x7. Okay. Now I'm going to add. Before you move anything or go to your next page, we need to add the next design, which is going to be the E. These are quick and easy. Whoops. Whoops. Okay. I'm going trigger happy here. Hang on. I want my designs and their stitched blocks. And is my E not? Oh, here it is. Set. And now we can hit embroidery. Now it's combined, layout, and I'm just going to scoot it all the way to the top. Hang on. It's scooted out of my embroidery area because my hoop wasn't on. So let me put my hoop on, and now it will not let me scoot it out of my embroidery field. See the knock knock, and it just stops there. Okay. Let's go ahead, and first thing we're going to do is I'm going to change it over so I can move my colors. We're going to do the placement stitch. And as far as color goes, I'm going to put the color of the quilting in. So the quilting color for E is, what page are we? 20. They want white. Let's go ahead and put white in. We had a super fun sew along. Well, I thought it was super fun. You got to watch me, stitch something to my embroidery that shouldn't be there. But I thought I made pretty quick work of taking it out with my Kai seam ripper. I'm going to give these two a little shot of spray to the back. Now that fabric is directional, so when you lay down the striped fabric, let's just check and make sure we're laying it down right. Okay, here's my batting. You want to put the batting right inside this stitch line. Okay. Now let's look at our instructions and see how it wants us to lay down. So the stripe should go vertical, up and down. We are skipping the next step. That step is tack down for your batting. That's placement for your background fabric. That's tack down for your background fabric. You do not have to do the placement for your background fabric because you know it's going to get centered to this. And again, make sure your stripes are running vertical. Up and down. I would just make sure we're covering. I can move them over a little bit. And the other thing is make sure that your stripes are going nice and straight up and down and that you're not cockeyed. And I think we're good. Okay, this is the tack down for your background fabric. And when you trim these, they practically get trimmed right on this placement line. So, you know, you have lots of room. They're very generous. Okay, if you look at your screen, it is showing you the quilting stitches now. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit start and let it do the quilting stitches. And we are going to stitch the E out. It's showing red on the screen. So you're going to need your red and then the darker blue and white. Those are your colors. So grab your red thread. That's going to be next. right, let's go ahead and put our red thread in. We're going to stitch out that gorgeous E. You don't have to, but I'm just going to put a red bobbin in just because I have one here that's waiting to be used up. I didn't experience any of my white thread showing on the other letter, so it should be fine, but let's go ahead and I'm going to put that red one in. We're going to stitch out the E. It's 4 minutes of stitching. right, now it wants to stitch out the little 23. I'm going to go ahead and change out my bobbin thread. Do I have any blue? Do not have any blue embroidery. I'm just going to put my white bobbin back in. Let's go ahead and slide my hoop back on. Put my thread in. Okay, and you need your hook and loop. So we're going to be placing this next. So it's the 3/4, so you have the 1/2 inch, which are the little ones, and these are the 3/4 inch. It's going to want you to stitch the hook and loop placement line, and you're going to place one loop dot, smooth side, right side up. I know it says to glue it, but the last time I did it, it was sticky, so I didn't have to glue it. So we are grabbing just one of these, and when we're done, we're going to put it all back so it doesn't get separated and lost, and it's going to be white thread that we're going to be putting in the upper. I think Velcro is amazing. Like, who came up with Velcro? And how did they make those little sharp little hooky parts? Like, how did they do that? All right, I'm going to put my white thread back in. And it wants to do a placement line. Let me just confirm that. I think that's what that is. Let's look at the instructions. Okay, stitch the hook and loop placement line. And then you're going to place one of the dots. And then you're going to stitch it down. And it does say to do it in a color that you can see, which I'm not really quite sure why. But it says, okay, so there's your placement line. You're grabbing one of the smooth ones. This is the loop. The hook is the sharp stuff. We're going to place it. Oh, you know why they want you to do it? Because it's going to be like a little star. Let me make sure I'm putting the right one down because it is, okay. We want the 3/4 inch. Yes. Okay, we want the 3/4 inch. And it's going to go right over this. How about if I show it to you? So it's not here, but it's going to be right here. And just kind of get it on top of that. And it wants a color you can see. And it's showing it in orange. And I think that's just because it is the, well, I'm not quite sure. I'm not going to do orange. But we do, let me take my white thread out really quickly. In here, they're showing it in orange too, but it's just a color you can see. So how about I'll do that pink? Taffy. Go ahead and tack it down. And we're done. Perfect. Next up, R. We have 2 R's. So we're going to go ahead and take this out. Let's hoop up for the next one. R is going to be on the first R is page 19. We'll do this one first. I'm going to go ahead and move this up. You know when you're in the stitching mode? I'm in the stitching mode. So it's best I just do my homework now. Okay, and this is my R block. So let's go ahead and put this on the machine. Put this on the machine, we'll load up our design. I can cut these blocks off too, now that I have the E on there. All right, for this one, let's go ahead and, okay, let's hit the home button. That's going to clear our screen. Go embroidery. We're doing this R block first, which is going to be line 6, 4x4 vertical. So we're going to load up line 6, and we're going to go 4x4. That's horizontal, that's vertical. Go ahead and set it and hit add. Now we're going to put R in. That's a stitched block. Here, Capuchin quilt, stitched block, and we want R. And I think both the R's are the same. Yeah, they are. So we're just going to do R, set. Those are combined. They're both centered, so we don't have to move it anywhere. We're going to hit embroidery, layout, move, and move it all the way up to the top. Okay, we're ready. First color for quilting is going to be, it's calling for the mint green. I really like the darker green. I'm going to use this instead because that goes too. Here's your fabric. So you can either do this one or you can do this one. I think I'm going to do this one because it's just striped lines. Yes, let's do that. That's the color I'm going to load into my machine. Give your batting and your background fabric a little shot of spray. There we go. Okay, that is going to be the placement stitch for your batting. Take your batting and give them both a little shot of spray. I'm spraying in my spray tent, so if you haven't seen it yet, what I use is this little guy here. It's literally a spray tent. That's what it's called. It's made by Dime. Lay my fabrics in here. And then I can change out the little bottom piece of cardboard, and then I can, whoop! And that way you don't have spray going all over your room. Okay. I also have a spray box, like when I do my borders, my binding strips, or the, you know, the border strips, and we quilt those, I will use my spray box because the spray tent isn't big enough. Okay, lay down your batting. It should fit right in there. If you're cutting it like we have on this spreadsheet, you're going to skip your batting tack down. You're going to skip your placement stitch for your background. We are going to do the tack down for the background. So I'm going to go ahead and lay this down, and literally you can just center it to this piece of batting. You can eyeball it. You have lots of room, so I can feel underneath here, and I can feel it's right there. That's totally fine. And I am going to go ahead and do the fabric tack down. I call this tickling my fabric. And now we're going to do the quilting stitches. And you can always confirm that it's on your screen. There are my quilting stitches. And then for the R, it looks like they're doing the R in that pretty taffy pink. So here's your taffy pink. Have that ready. We're going to put that in. All right, put in your taffy pink, and that's going to be 5 minutes of stitching. While it's stitching, I'm going to run up and grab a snack. I will be right back. And then we're going to do our next R. We're going to power through these, ladies. And with your other stuff, put it back in the bag so you don't lose it. We know where to find it. Super cute. On to the next one. We're going to unhoop. Let's go ahead and hoop up. Whoop. Getting caught. We're going to hoop up for the next jar. This art is going to be on the navy background. That's my fur baby. He's saying, chicken. I'm just eating chicken, so. Okay, here's my next R. We're not even going to change the design or the placement or anything, but this is going to be the fabric that you're grabbing. So go ahead and put this hoop on your machine. Let's figure out what color we're using. It looks like this one is green, but the quilting is going to be of the navy blue. So I'm going to go ahead and then the quilting design is also going to be different. This one is going to be plants 3. So actually we do have to change it, but we only partially have to change it. That heavy breathing is not me. This is going to get rid of the R and we don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead and just touch the design behind it. We're going to delete that. And then we're going to go ahead and add. And let's add, what was that again? Plants 3. Here we go, plants 3. And the size we're going to be using is 4x4. And I'm going to take the R and let's edit, move, and center. There we go. And that looks right to me. We're going to say okay. Touch embroidery. That's going to group it. Touch layout or your edit key and snug it all the way up. And we are ready to go. Navy is my first color that's going to be showing. So I'm going to go ahead and put my navy thread in. Not the best view, right? Tighten that up. And go ahead and give your fabric and batting a little shot of spray. And you can hit this button right here. Actually, and oh, you know what happened? So when I did this, it put this design in first and then it put the other design in. So mine is, it usually will stitch out in the order in which you load it. So I'm going to hit return. On this machine, I can change my order. So I'm going to go right here. Instead of stitching that first, we're going to stitch that first and then we'll say okay. Did that switch for me? No. I have to actually hit the order button. There we go. So now it switched it. If you've never used that before, that was a great little mini lesson. Now you know how to use that. That's going to be on the Luminaire and the Solaris. The Luminaire 2 and the Solaris 2 is when they added that feature. Okay, now I can see we're ready because I want to do the placement stitch first. Let me go ahead and I'm going to give these two a little shot of spray. Look how impatient I am. It's just never fast enough. Okay, we're going to skip the next 2 steps. We are going to skip the tack down for the batting, the placement for your background, and we're going to do the tack down for your background. And we can just center this to here. That seems good. I can feel, I have a lot more fabric on the top, but that's okay. We have plenty on the bottom. This is tack down, and then we'll do the quilting stitch. Quilting stitch is next. You can confirm it by looking at your screen. There's my quilting stitch. And then I want you to get your thread ready. The next color that you're going to be using on this is going to be the green. So get your green thread. And my sewing room is the main thoroughfare to the outside. So everyone comes down here and then out the door and they slam the door. Okay, now we're going to do the green. And this is 5 minutes of stitching. Next block we're going to do is going to be the Y block. So you should have this piece of fabric stabilized with Shape Flex and your piece of batting. That is next. going to do the Y. I was writing an email to you ladies. Let me put that to the side. Let's take this over here. And let's get ready to stitch out the Y. Why? Because that's what's next. Ooh, my cord is stuck. We are going to unhoop this. And while I'm at it, why not go ahead and cut these off? We can go ahead and cut everything off but the last one. We need that one to be able to hoop nice and close. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off the ones above. I was just sending you a note letting you know what your homework is, and I'm revising the spreadsheet for next week. Okay, we're going to leave that one on. Okay. Here is the Y block. We are going to be doing, looks like our quilting is going to be in the dark or the gray, just the regular gray. And the lettering is going to be stitched out in Tidewater, that kind of teal. So let's go ahead and slide this onto the machine. Bring up the Y. So I'm going to go home first to clear my screen. Week 4, the Y block. And this is actually going to be for next week, but we're getting all of this done. So we're going to do Christmas 8. Okay. Walked around the room with my sheet. So we are going to be putting in Christmas 8. And it is 4x4 horizontal. Here we go. And go ahead and set it. We're going to add to that, and we're going to add the Y. Stitch blocks. Set. Hit embroidery, layout, and we're going to scoot it all the way up. And say okay. All right. Quilting is going to be in the gray. So I'm going to put this in. This is coin. These are all the glide threads, the colors that were curated for Kimberbell. And first thing we're going to do is the placement stitch for the batting. Whoop. I love that it tells me that, because I tend to leave that up maybe 25% of the time. So let me go ahead and do that placement stitch. And while it's doing the placement stitch, I'm going to spray my background fabric and my batting. I'm going to go ahead and lay this down. And I'm going to also lay down my background fabric centered to this. There we go. And you can always feel underneath it, make sure that you're covering the whole thing. We're going to skip some steps. We are going to go skip the batting tack down, skip the placement for the fabric. We're going to do the fabric tack down. And then we will do the fabric quilting. Okay, just confirm on your screen that the quilting stitch is up next. It should be like the little stockings there. You see those. Go ahead and hit start. Let it do the quilting and get your thread ready. This is what I'm going to be doing the Y with. Excuse me. And that was 4 letters, and it took us, it'll probably have taken us about an hour. So not bad time-wise. Look how cute those little stockings are. After we finish this, we're going to do the 2 snowflakes. And this will be 6 minutes of stitching. let's go ahead and take this off. We are now going to do, so we just did E, R, R, and Y. We're going to do Snowflake 2 and 3. So let me grab my snowflakes. We're going to unhoop. And let's hoop up Snowflake 2. Let's get him out of there. I have fly in here. I think I gotta catch it. I don't know if you guys can hear that. You know how that noise will just drive you crazy. Okay, here's that. And all right, so I am hooped up. I am grabbing Snowflake 2, and let's go ahead and go to the machine. I'm gonna slide this on my machine. And for Snowflake 2, here's Snowflake 2. Cup 1, 4x4. Cup 1, 4x4. Okay, so I'm going to go home. And we're going to get embroidery design. Cup 1. And we need the 4x4. And let's set that. We're going to add to it. And we want to add Snowflake 2, which I think there's just one snowflake for all of them. That is just a stitch block. And there's the snowflake right there. There's only one snowflake. So we're going to go ahead and load that. Set it. We're going to say embroidery and layout, move, and we're going to scoot them all the way to the top. And let's go ahead and put it so we can see our colors. Let's talk about what colors we need. Snowflake 2 is on page 18. So for Snowflake 2, we're just going to use white thread to do our quilting, white thread for Snowflake 3, and they're both going to be done with navy blue thread. So let's go ahead and put a white in first. Okay, and let's grab our fabric. Let's go ahead and we'll give this a little shot of spray to the backs of both of these. So, I don't know why, but I looked at that and I thought, that box looks way too big. But it is perfect for your 4x4 piece of batting. So go ahead and put your piece of batting in there. And then you want to take your background fabric too, and you're going to place that down. Sometimes I'll just lay it down, but sometimes I do fold it after I spray it. I know it gets a little bit sticky on your fingers. And then I'll just lay it out. It's up to you. And we're going to skip some steps. So on here, that's the tack down for the batting. That is the placement for the background. That is the tack down for the background. I'm just going to go ahead and hit start. And that is going to do it in white. And then you need your blue thread. Your snowflake's going to be in blue. And then we're just going to repeat this exact same snowflake This exact same snowflake is going to be 3 as well. Now it wants to do the quilting stitches. I already have my white thread in there. Just go ahead and hit start. All right, change out your thread. And then stitch out your snowflake. It is 14 minutes of stitching. That's a big snowflake. I'm sure you'll find something in your sewing room to do while it's stitching. bobbin thread. Hang on just a second. I'm going to go ahead and cut. Go ahead and grab a bobbin. I buy these by the box. I'm going to go back 10 stitches and then start. right, let's hoop up and let's do the next one. It's going to be exactly the same. I don't know if the quilting is going to be the same, but the embroidery will be the same. The colors will be the same too. Not sure what's going on out there. Here we go. Okay. Sorry. All right. I'm going to take this and slide it on my machine. Feels so bad. You've got snowmobiles out there, and then you've got dogs in here, and kids running through, and I guess this is just what we call life. Okay, so this is Snowflake 3, and Snowflake 3 wants, it also wants cups. So I think this is going to be exactly the same. Here's Snowflake 2, cups 1, 4x4, Snowflake 3, cups 1, 4x4. So we are just doing a complete repeat. Quilting is going to be in, I'm pretty sure that was white, so I'm going to put white in first. I'll go ahead and spray everything, and then we will get stitching. And then we have presents. We'll have to do our presents. And then chairs, and then we're done. So let me go ahead. I don't have to do anything. This is all completely the same. So I'm just going to go ahead and do my placement stitch. Let me grab my fabric so that I can spray them. Spraying my fabric and my batting. Let's put this down first. And then I am just going to put this down. Then we're going to skip some steps. Let's skip the tack down, the placement, and we are going to do this tack down. Should be step 4 if you're combining your quilting with your embroidery designs. This is step 4. Go ahead, quilt your cups. Just hit start. And this one is also going to be that really pretty, I don't even know, I can't even call it navy blue, but deep blue. Or how about we call it by the name they call it? They call it marlin. So it's marlin blue. Okay, go ahead and take out your white thread. Let's put in our blue, our marlin. And another 14 minutes of stitching. right, let's hoop up for cheer. All right, time to do present 2. Remember when I told you to put your ribbon in a super safe spot so you wouldn't lose it and put it back in the bag? Well, guess what? I cannot find my super safe spot. And it had the ribbon in it, and there was one other thing, and I can't remember what it was, but I know I'll find it eventually. Luckily, I had some more of the 1/8 inch ribbon, so you need 4 pieces that are 9 inches long. Same exact process as, same exact stitch out as what we did with present number 1, and you're gonna have, this is present number 2 that we're stitching out, and then there's present number 3. So if you want to stitch them all out now, you can, because those are all will be signed as homework anyways. I'm not going to do those right now. I'm just going to do our bare minimum. So I am hooped up. Let's go ahead and slide this on the machine. So alignment is centered, so we are good to go. I'm going to go here into my home. We are doing, look how marked up my thing is because I have made quite a few changes. So we're doing plants 3, 4x4. Plants 3. And we want the 4x4 design. And then we're going to add, can you see my add? Plants 3, 4x4, and present. Whoops. Sorry. Sometimes my finger goes not where I want it to go. Here's present, right? Okay, yes. Go ahead and set that. Its alignment is centered. And then we're going to do embroidery, layout, move, snug it up to the top. Okay. And let's see what our stitching is going to be. Looks like it's going to be white. So I'm going to change out my thread. Ooh, we're almost done with our homework. Isn't that exciting? Yeah. I'm going to, after I do this, I'm going to finish the whole thing. We're going to press it out. I'm going to sew it together. I just like having it all done because who knows what the week will bring. Oop. Here is our fabric for the present. I'm going to go ahead and spray everything. So this is going to be our present fabric, the batting, and our background. And it does make a difference how you lay it all down. Go ahead and put this down first. It snugs right inside the placement stitch. Next, we are going to put down, we're going to skip to step number 4. That was step number 1. We're going to go to step number 4. We are going to skip the batting tack down, skip the placement for the background fabric, and we will do the tack down for the background fabric. So I'm going to get my background fabric, and you want your stripes to go left to right. This makes a difference. You want it to be nice and straight. You don't want it to be all cockeyed. I think that looks pretty straight, right? There we go. Yeah, I think that looks good. Okay, do your tack down. And then our quilting stitch is going to be in white, and that's the color that I have in right now. Looks pretty straight. And then go ahead and hit start for your, so this is step number 5. This is going to be your quilting stitch. And when I say step number 5, it's a 5 out of 10. So we are on step 5. That is not what step you're on in the book. I know that can be confusing. I think what Kimberbell should do is Kimberbell should include, right, all the quilting designs with this. Wouldn't that be great if the quilting designs were included and then you didn't have multiple steps for if you're adding quilting, steps if you're not adding quilting. But at the same time, that might bump you out of your hoop size. I guess it's good to have options. All right, so we're going to be doing the quilting. Next, we're going to do the ribbon placement, and color makes a difference. So the first color that we're really going to see is going to be the green. So I'm going to do everything after this in this green. So get your sage green out in your ribbon. And you're going to need some tape. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and take out my white. Just put in the green. And it wants you to stitch your ribbon placement line. Wait, you should have 4 pieces of ribbon. Do I have 4? Oh yeah, there it is. And you need some tape. I'm going to use my transport tape. My favorite tape in the world. And when you lay these down, you want them to hang over about 1/4 of an inch into the center of the design. Like the majority of it is going to hang off the edges of the hoop and a little bit over that placement line. All right, so we're going to go a little bit over here. I'm just going to put a big old piece of tape. This is all left over from me using it for other stuff. About 1/4 of an inch. Okay, the other thing we need is we need a piece of wash away, because once we tack this down, we're going to put the wash away down. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and hit start and let it tack all that down. This is my favorite wash away. This is Baby Lock's Hydro Melt topping. I think they're all kind of the same though. Wouldn't it be funny if we found out the same person made all of the wash away and then they just put different labels on it? Remember, when you open it up, keep this. And you want to take this part and tuck it down in the center so you know what is what. So I'm going to go ahead and tuck that down in there. And so you don't get your wash away confused with your heat and go, your heat topping. Okay, now what it wants you to do is it says, stitch the ribbon, tack down, remove the tape, and play wash away topping over the ribbon. So we're going to go ahead and take away the tape first. It's a good time for a pair of tweezers, if I can find mine. Okay. Let's take a piece of washaway and just cut a piece big enough to go over this. We're going to put it just like this. Another piece of tape. And then it says stitch the present placement line. So let's go ahead and stitch the present placement line. I already sprayed my green fabric. Remove the topping from inside the present. So inside here, we're going to remove that topping. Don't take it from outside. Let me go ahead and get this started just a little bit. Alrighty. And then it says stitch the present tack down. So now we're going to put our fabric down. Fabric goes right here. We're going to do the tack down. Trim the fabric close to the stitch. Do not trim the topping. This is a good time for a pair of curved scissors. You just want the tip to be curved like this so you can kind of control what it cuts underneath. And then we're going to satin stitch, and then we're done with this block. Isn't that nice? Now go ahead and do the satin stitch, and we are done. Last block we're going to do is the cheer one, cheer 2. And then we'll remove the topping as well. So you're going to get rid of whatever's left of that topping as soon as it's done with this. And you're just using it so the foot doesn't get caught under that ribbon, it doesn't get dragged around. Remove excess topping. So just pull in towards your design. And this one is done. We have one more block that is part of your homework for next week. Let's go and do it. We are done with these. Last block that we need to do is going to be cheer 2. And that is not our last block total, but our last block that's going to be homework. So I am hooped up in an 8x8 hoop. I'm going to slide that on my machine. This is the fabric you're going to need and your batting. It is on page 28. Let's go to page 28. And the only thing we have to pay attention to, actually everything is all set. We're centered. Design is centered. So let's just go ahead and load it on our machine and we'll stitch it out. Then we'll talk about assembly. All right. For cheer 2, I'm going to say okay, go home. And for cheer 2, the design is cup 1, 6x6. Cup 1, 6x6. Cup 1. We're going to do 6x6. And now we're going to also add cheer to it, or cheer 2. It's embroidery only. Or stitched block. Here's cheer 1, here's cheer 2. Set it. And we have to, it looks like we're going to have to rotate. Sorry about all the door slamming. Did I do that right? Maybe I don't have the right design. That one is 6x6. I actually think I have the wrong design. Hang on a second. So cheer 2 is, no, it's 6.5 by 6.5. That is the right design. So it's going to be the 6x6. And let me go ahead. Align the block. Oh, you know what it is? Sorry, I'm getting confused. That line that I'm seeing above here is the line for the 5x7 hoop. I am in the 8x8 hoop. So I'm going to go home, select the right hoop size, 8x8, say okay. And now you can see that it fits perfectly. It fits in there, and I have room out here. Sometimes those lines can confuse me. Just remember that they are black or charcoal, and then the lines of your design and what you're stitching is going to be in red. Okay, we are good to go now. So we're going to say embroidery. I'm going to go, I just have a single piece in there. I'm just going to leave it centered. And let's go ahead and talk about what color it needs to be stitched in. The quilting stitch is just white. So go ahead and put your white in. That was confusing for me. And then I thought for sure, oh, I made the spreadsheet wrong. But it wasn't the spreadsheet. It was my brain. It was a combination of my eyes and my brain sending me wrong information. Or actually, it was sending me right information, but my brain was just confused. All right, go ahead and stitch the placement line for your batting. I'm going to spray my batting in my background fabric. This is something in my stash that I'd actually stitched together. I was like, oh yeah, I'll use it. Let's use it. Use it all. Okay, in your background fabric, you just need to center it to this. I kind of like that the background fabric is like big and beefy like this. Gives me lots of room. Okay, we're going to skip the next 2 steps. That's the tack down for your batting, placement for your background fabric, tack down for your background fabric, because we already placed it. Using our fantastic brains. And then we'll do our quilting stitch. Look at your screen, make sure you're seeing what you want to be seeing, and then you can just go ahead and hit start. And the first color that we're going to be stitching is going to be gray, and it's going to stitch of. Get your gray thread next. You did it, ladies. You got all your homework done. Okay, let's put our gray in. After gray is going to be, so first we're stitching of, then we're going to stitch the R in the mint green. Grab your little mint green, which is mint julep. Then the red exclamation part, just laying out on my thread. And then the green 5. And then we're done stitching. You can take all your thread, tidy it all up, make it nice and neat. All right, let's go ahead and put the mint julep in. I'm getting ready to fire up the 10 needle. There's a lot of new, awesome, incredible designs out. Stitch out this R. Oh my goodness. Guess what I just found? My ribbon! Okay, that obviously wasn't a good place where I just put it. I put it was with my cup of cheer thread. I'm just happy I found it. Yay! Okay, get ready with your red. That's the next color up. Exclamation point. That's what we're stitching. In case you're wondering why I'm screaming that out. And then we'll stitch out the 5. Oh, and we're going to be also putting down some more of the hook and loop. So grab that. You need a piece of the 3/4 inch, which is the bigger one. Oh wait, you need that size? Yeah, you need the 3/4 inch. And we want the soft side, the smooth side. And then whatever you're not using, put it back in the bag and put it with your stuff in a safe place. Pop in your green, your sage green to stitch out the number 5. This will be for Momo this year. And then we'll put just like a little dog biscuit in each one. And my kids will be so sad because Momo has an advent calendar and they don't. Just kidding. I'll use it for both of them. There'll be a little treat for our fur baby and then a treat for our people babies. Ooh, we're almost done. This one, they want the placement for the loop in white and then the tack down in white too. It's kind of cute to have the tack down in like a different color though. It's because it just looks like a little snowflake. All right, let's put in our white. This is the placement line for your loop. Okay, right here. And now we're gonna do the tack down. And the last thing you're going to do is you're going to stitch the trimming guide, and it wants it to be in a color that you can see. I'm just going to go ahead and put in the pretty blue. Okay, can't see the white. It's too light. Tidewater is, I'd have to put it in like my top 5 favorite colors. That is your homework. So what you should have is going to be, I need some WD-40, huh, ladies? Okay, so you should have for your homework, where's the other one? All right, so your E, your R, Y for Mary, your 2 snowflakes, snowflakes 2 and 3, present 2, and your R of cheer. And that is what you're going to need. That should be done before we meet next week. The other thing you should have done is section 2 should be complete and sewn together. And that's your homework. I will see you. I'm going to do another video right now on putting together section 2. Bye, guys.